Ashley, your scrapping nerd, and I'm back today with a layout for Mix It Up Monday, and it's where we take a sketch and we mix it up by either mixed media or stitching, anything that can just kind of mix up that sketch. And today's sketch you saw at the top of the video was from Christine from Scrapping Harden, and I loved the sketch. I thought it was different and new, and so I pulled in my Mente Bon Voyage collection, and I have the paper and then I had the ephemera pack. And I went through, I haven't used bling on a layout for a while, so I went through my bling stash and I pulled in some K & Company bling, and then I had some other bling. I'm not sure where that came from, but I didn't end up using that anyway. I used the K & Company, and I couldn't decide which stencil I was going to use, so I pulled in the Tim Holtz Raise stencil as well as the circular stencil from Scrap-A-Sketch, and I pulled in two different distress inks, for, old paper and brushed corduroy, but I didn't actually use the old paper. But what I started with was the map paper from the collection, and I wanted that to be the back, like the photo mat or layout mat, and I gutted it so I could then use it for the top layer as well. And then I pulled in this, it's kind of like blurry circles, but I felt like it was a neutral paper to separate the map. So I'm going to put the middle part of the map back onto the layout, but I'm going to have that blurry paper kind of be my in-between to separate them. And in the sketch, it had like a notebook edge, like if you ripped out the paper. So I'm taking that matte paper that's going to be the top layer, and I'm using my notebook punch, and I'm punching out the top of that. And I really like how that looked. Now the sketch has 3 photos, but I'm actually just going to scrap 1 photo and do something else to mimic the three photos from the sketch. But I wanted to pull in my brushed corduroy Distress Oxide and ink all of the edges of everything. So I inked the back layer, the middle layer, and also the top layer with that ink, and I did the notebook paper as well. And so I'm going to pop up the map on the top layer, but before I do that, I wanted to use the Scrap-A-Sketch stencil and just add some circles. And this just kind of mimics the circles from the sketch. And obviously they're not the same size, but it was kind of my nod to that. And I really like this stencil. I don't think I've ever used the entire stencil as it is, like in its entirety. I always just will ink like the circle, like one circle at a time. And I like that there's the different sizes. And I was inking on the edge so that even when I pop up my top layer with the map, the circles will still line up. And that just was to add some extra interest. And, I have the circles from the kind of neutral paper as well. And so it kind of ties it all together. And I really liked this brushed corduroy with this paper collection. I had thought about using tea dye, but it was almost not this. It was, I don't know what the word is. It's like an orangey brown, where this was a perfect brown to match the paper line. But then I'm going to take this page, which is the cut aparts, and I'm just going to cut them all out since I'm cutting this paper, but I'm only going to use, I think I end up using 3 and then 2 in a different way. So I cut them all out, and this collection is so pretty. I just love it. I love everything about it. And I am scrapbooking the picture of, this is my mom. We were on her 70th birthday cruise, and this is like, as you get going on, they take your picture, like the Bon Voyage, and it says the date and the name of the cruise ship. And so I have done the same picture of my husband and I, and so that's actually going to be on the page next to this one. And I love when the pages are all different and it's more eclectic. I didn't want them to match, and so I did that one a while ago. So it's kind of fun to have different things next to each other. I rarely do a 2-page layout. But anyways, so I took those cut aparts and I picked 3 of them that I really liked, and I'm using that to mimic the 3 photos from the sketch. And I also did the notebook punch for each of those as well. And then I took 2 of the I haven't seen it yet, but 2 of the cut aparts that I probably wouldn't use, and because they're double-sided, they have the stripes on the back, and I will cut out the brown stripes from them, and I will use that just to add kind of a shelf part to the layout like was in the sketch. And you saw I popped up that top layer. And so before I put everything back on, I wanted to add some splatters, and so I took that brushed corduroy and I put it on my glass mat, and then I put sprayed some water, and then I'm just using that to put some splatters all over the background of the layout. And that's just part of the whole Mix It Up Monday. I have the splatters and the stencils, and then I have the pop-up to add dimension. And so that's the fun of it. Plus you can go and see how everyone interpreted the layout and get a lot of ideas, because just because it's a sketch doesn't mean you follow it exactly. And so you can see what people took from it and what they were inspired, and then everyone's layout looks completely different from one another, and that's always really fun. But so I'm taking my brush corduroy again, and I'm inking the edges of all those cut aparts, and then I of course went and wanted to map my photo with a white photo mat, and so I pulled in scrap paper and made the photo mat, and then I will ink that as well. But while I'm doing all that, again, go ahead and check all the description in the box below so that you can see who is playing along with Mix It Up Monday. I want to say thank you to everyone that's liked and subscribed to my channel. If you want to be notified when I have a new video, just hit the little bell. And if you haven't subscribed, I would love to have you. Just go ahead and hit that button below. And thank you to all those that have. Here's where I took the back of the cut aparts that I probably wouldn't really use, and am just cutting out the brown stripes from the back to use to mimic that piece that goes across in the sketch. And I will also use the brushed corduroy on that. I just love inking things. I'm always inking everything. It just makes the edges and the paper differentiate from each other, and I just like how that looks. Plus, I really like the vintage style, and so inking things just kind of plays along with that. So now that everything is inked and splattered and I know where everything's going to go, I'm going to start working on my little cluster. I only did one embellishment cluster that I put at the bottom left. And I ended up, I didn't realize that the ephemera cut aparts from the Bon Voyage collection didn't have any words. So I did pull in, I had 2 sticker sheets from Cartabella, the Transatlantic Travel, where I just pulled in the word adventure. And then from the Ahoy there, I pulled in, it says Friendly Sailors. And so I just thought that was perfect to go next to this. And then I just pulled in a floral, and I put a little passport, and then this little globe here, and I have the camera there, and I will actually pop the camera up on foam just to add some dimension to that cluster. But I really like the addition of the Friendly Sailors into the cluster. I think it just added a little something, and I just love a good wordy bit, and I was surprised. I thought for sure that the ephemera would have a wordy bit in it, but it didn't. And then lastly, I'm just going to pull in the Kane Company gems, and it's like a curly Q. And so I just wanted to put a little curly Q of the gems into the embellishment cluster there behind the globe. And it was a little bit long, so I will cut it just so that it barely goes behind the globe there, and I will use 3 of the gems next to the camera, as well as a couple on the top or the far right cut apart up there, just to get some gems around the layout. But that's it, guys. So thanks, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.